If you woke up tomorrow with one power, what would it be? While some might choose flight or invisibility, for many of us, the deepest desire is the ability to read minds. We long to bridge the silence between the people we love, to know what lies behind a polite smile, or to understand the truth that words often hide. We often think of mind reading as a supernatural power, a fantasy reserved for stories. But the ancient wisdom of Buddhism teaches us that this ability is not magic, it is mindfulness. It is not about hearing thoughts, but about quieting your own noise enough to hear the soul of another. It is a power that already resides within you, waiting to be awakened. Today, we will journey into a powerful story of a blind master who saw more truth than a king with perfect vision. You will learn that you don't need magic to see the unseen, you simply need to learn how to truly look. Welcome to Buddha Coha. Let's begin. Part 1, The Parable of the Blind Seer, the Story. Long ago, in an era forgotten by history books but remembered in the whispers of the wind, two brothers lived in the misty highlands of the east. They were born of the same blood, yet they experienced the universe in two entirely different ways. The younger brother, Kaito, was a man of the visible world. He was a master archer, renowned throughout the province. His eyes were his most prized possession, sharp, piercing, and relentless. He could spot a falcon diving from the clouds before anyone else even looked up. He could track a beetle moving through the tall grass from 50 paces away. Kaito lived his life believing that truth was something to be seen, captured, and categorized. To him, the world was a collection of shapes, colors, and physical forms. If he could not see it, it did not exist. The elder brother, Hiroshi, inhabited a world of eternal twilight. He was born blind. He had never seen the grandeur of the mountains that surrounded their village, nor the vibrant red of the maple leaves in autumn, nor the reflection of his own face in the river. Yet, the villagers did not pity Hiroshi, they revered him. They called him the seer of the unseen. While Kaito moved through the world with the aggressive speed of a hunter, Hiroshi moved with the fluid, deliberate grace of water. He walked the treacherous mountain paths without a guide, his wooden staff tapping a rhythm that seemed to converse with the earth itself. Where Kaito saw the surface, Hiroshi felt the pulse. One crisp autumn morning, a royal decree arrived from the capital. The king, a ruler renowned for his immense wealth and also for his crippling, legendary paranoia, summoned the brothers. He had heard rumors of the Blind Seer, and, being a man who trusted no one, he wished to test this so-called wisdom to see if it was a trick. The journey to the capital was long. It took the brothers through the great bamboo forest, a place of ancient silence and towering stalks that blocked out the sky. As they walked, Kaito, bored by the silence, filled the air with his observations. "Brother, you are missing so much," Kaito said, his voice echoing. "The sunlight is filtering through the leaves in shafts of gold. A blue jay is sitting on a rock, watching us. The moss on these stones is a vibrant green. It is a tragedy that you walk in darkness while the world offers such a feast for the eyes." Hiroshi simply smiled, a gentle, enigmatic curve of his lips. He tilted his head slightly to the left, listening not to his younger brother's words, but to the spaces between them. "The eyes can be a feast, Kaito," he replied softly, "but they can also be a glutton that distracts the soul. Sometimes, to see the whole, one must stop looking at the parts." Suddenly, in the middle of a straight, paved path, Hiroshi stopped. His hand shot out, gripping Kaido's forearm with surprising strength. "Halt," Hiroshi whispered. The tone was not a request, it was a command. "Step off the path, Kaido. Immediately. Bow your head." Kaido yanked his arm back, annoyed. He looked up and down the road. It was a straight line of white stone, visible for miles in both directions. It was completely, utterly empty. "Brother, have you lost your senses?" Kaido laughed, a harsh sound that startled the quiet forest. "There is no one here. My eyes are perfect. I see the road all the way to the horizon. There is not a soul, not a cart, not even a stray dog. Let us move, we are late." "Do not trust the illusion of the space," Hiroshi warned, his voice vibrating with intensity. He stepped off the path into the tall grass, pulling Kaido with him. "A life approaches. A heavy, sacred life. She is a mother, and she carries the future within her. Be still, or you will disturb the balance." Kaido sighed, rolling his eyes at his brother's superstition, but he obeyed. He crossed his arms and waited, tapping his foot impatiently. Seconds turned into a minute. Kaido opened his mouth to mock his brother again, but then, the bamboo wall on the opposite side of the road rustled. The sound was faint, but distinct. Then, the stalks parted. Out stepped a creature of breathtaking majesty. It was a doe, larger than any Kaido had ever hunted. But she was not bounding with the energy of a wild animal. She was walking with a slow, labored, almost regal dignity. Her belly was swollen and low, she was heavily pregnant, seemingly moments away from bringing new life into the world. She paused in the center of the white stone path. She turned her large, liquid, dark eyes toward the brothers. She stared directly at Kaido, then at Hiroshi. Seeing they offered no threat, she continued her slow, heavy march across the road and vanished into the safety of the deep woods on the other side. Kaido stood frozen. His mouth hung open. The arrogance that usually armored him had evaporated like mist in the morning sun. He stared at the spot where the deer had vanished, then turned to his blind brother with a look of terrified awe. "How?" Kaido stammered, his voice trembling. "I have the eyes of a hawk. I saw nothing." "You saw the invisible." Hiroshi lowered his head and resumed walking. "You were looking for a form, Kaido. You were looking for a shape that matched your memory of a deer. I was listening to the vibration. I heard the rhythm of her steps, uneven, placing more weight on her hind legs to balance the heavy life she carries. A lone deer runs with a light, erratic clip-clop. A mother walks with the heavy, rhythmic thud-thud of the earth itself. I felt the displacement of the air as she moved through the stalks. I smelled the change in the musk, the scent of milk and life. You see with your eyes, and so you are easily blinded by the space. I see with my whole being. The universe speaks loudly, brother, if you only stop shouting at it with your eyes." They continued the rest of the journey in a different kind of silence, a silence of respect. Finally, they arrived at the Golden Palace. The throne room was designed to crush the spirit. It was a cavern of marble and gold, with ceilings so high they were lost in shadow. The king sat upon a dais raised high above the floor, draped in velvet robes embroidered with real pearls. Beside him sat the queen, a woman renowned for her youth and beauty, frozen like a porcelain doll. Guards with stone-cold faces lined the walls, their hands resting on sword hilts. "Welcome," the king's voice boomed, echoing off the cold walls. "I am told you are a seer. I am a man who has everything. My kingdom is secure. My treasury is overflowing. My queen adores me. Tell me, blind man, what do you see in me that I do not see in myself? If you speak a lie, you die. If you speak the truth, I do not like, you might also die. The court held its breath. The air was thick with tension. Hiroshi stood in the center of the vast hall. He looked small, fragile in his simple robes. He did not bow. He stood rooted like an old tree. He closed his unseeing eyes and took a deep, long breath. He let the energy of the room wash over him. He listened to the silence beneath the noise. He felt the vibration of the floorboards. Your Majesty, Hiroshi began, his voice calm, carrying the weight of a mountain. You ask for truth, so I shall serve it. You speak of wealth, yet the air around you vibrates with the poverty of fear. You possess gold, but you have the heart of a beggar who fears every hand that reaches out. You are not a king at peace, you are a jailer of your own possessions. Gasps rippled through the court. The king's face turned purple with rage. But Hiroshi continued, his voice softening. And, forgive me, but the queen sitting beside you is miles away. Her body is on the throne, but her heart is weeping for the mountains of her home. She is not adoring, she is enduring. There is a river of tears behind her silence that she has held back for 1,000 nights. Enough. The king slammed his fist onto the armrest of his throne. How dare you? My queen is the happiest woman in the world. And I am the most generous soul in the land. Guards, seize this fraud. But before the guards could take a step, a sound cut through the tension. It was a sharp, jagged sob. The queen had buried her face in her hands, her shoulders shaking violently. Tears streamed through her jeweled fingers, ruining her perfect makeup. He is right, my lord, she wept, her voice breaking the illusion. I miss my village. I have been so lonely here, surrounded by cold gold. I have been too afraid to tell you, for I know how much you hate ingratitude. The king froze. The anger drained from his face, replaced by a pale shock. He looked at his weeping wife, really looked at her for the first time in years. Then he looked down at his own hand, the hand that was currently gripping his ring, a nervous habit he had whenever he felt threatened. He realized that even now, surrounded by his army, he felt unsafe. He realized he spent his nights counting coins, terrified of thieves. The king slumped back, defeated by the naked truth. How? He whispered, his voice small and trembling. You cannot see my face. You cannot see her tears. You are blind. Your Majesty, Hiroshi replied softly. When you spoke of your security, your voice tightened at the throat, the sound of a man trying to convince himself, not others. I heard the constant rustle of your heavy robes. You cannot sit still, for your mind is restless with suspicion. I heard the clinking of your rings against the throne, the sound of attachment. And the queen. Her perfume is sweet, but her breathing was shallow and jagged, the breath of someone holding back a scream. I did not need eyes to see the suffering in this room. I only needed to listen to what you were trying so hard to hide. Part 2. The Anatomy of Illusion, Deep Analysis. This story, friends, is not just a fable. It is a precise diagnosis of the human condition. In the teachings of Buddhist psychology, specifically within the Yogacara, consciousness only, school, what we call reality is often just a projection of our own minds. We are all, in a sense, the younger brother of Kaido. We are obsessed with the rupa, form. We live in a world that is louder and more visual than at any time in history. We judge people by their profile pictures. We interpret text messages based on our own mood. We assume a smiling face means a happy heart. We assume a quiet person is a boring person. We are constantly scanning the surface, looking for shapes that match our expectations. But as the story illustrates, sight is often the enemy of insight. When we rely solely on our eyes, we fall victim to Maya, illusion. We see the king's gold and assume power, missing the trembling fear underneath. We see the queen's beauty and assume joy, missing the cage of loneliness she lives in. We see our partners, I'm fine, and assume peace, missing the desperate plea for connection. Hiroshi, the blind seer, represents the state of prajna, transcendent wisdom. Because his physical eyes were closed, his third eye, the eye of awareness, was forced to open. He practiced what is known as deep listening, avalokiteshvara. He did not listen to the words, for words are often lies we tell to protect our egos. He listened to the energy. He listened to the biology. To read a mind is not magic. It is not telepathy. It is hyper-mindfulness. It is the ability to silence your own internal narration so completely that you become a clear mirror, reflecting the subtle, biological, and energetic reality of the person in front of you. Part 3, the first pillar, the anchor of emptiness, Samadhi. How do we acquire this power? How do we become the blind seer in a world of blinding lights? It begins not with looking at others, but with emptying yourself. The barrier of the monkey mind. Why can't we read minds? Because our own minds are too loud. When you are talking to someone, observe your own thoughts. Are you truly listening? Or are you thinking, what should I say next to sound smart? Does my hair look okay? I disagree with them, I need to correct them. I have to pick up the kids later. This internal chatter creates static. You are a radio trying to tune into a distant station, the other person, but your own broadcast is jamming the signal. The technique, the 0-point reset. To read a mind, you must first achieve shunyata, emptiness. Before you enter a conversation where you need to see the truth, a negotiation, a date, a difficult family talk, you must perform a reset. 1. The physical anchor. Plant your feet firmly on the ground. Feel the gravity. This quiets the fight or flight response in your body. 2. The breath. Take one deep breath, extending the exhale longer than the inhale. This triggers the vagus nerve, telling your brain, I am safe. 3. The vow. Silently say to yourself, for the next 10 minutes, I do not exist. My opinions do not exist. My ego does not exist. I am only a mirror. When you do this, something miraculous happens. Your mirror neurons, specialized cells in the brain designed to empathize, activate fully. You start to feel what the other person is feeling. You might suddenly feel a tightness in your stomach. That is not your anxiety, it is theirs. You have tuned in. Part 4, the second pillar, decoding the biology of the eyes. Once your mind is quiet, you can direct your attention to the only part of the human brain that is visible from the outside, the eyes. The eyes are not just poetic windows to the soul, they are biological indicators of the autonomic nervous system. They react to thoughts faster than the conscious mind can control. 1. The truth of the pupil, the aperture. The pupil, the black center, operates entirely on the subconscious. The expansion, love, interest. When the brain sees something it desires, loves, or finds interesting, it signals the pupils to dilate. It wants to let more light in. If you are speaking to someone and their pupils are large and soft, their mind is screaming, "I am open to you. I accept this." The constriction, fear rejection. When the brain perceives a threat or feels repulsion, the pupils shrink to pinpoints. This is the snake eye effect, sharpening focus for battle. If a person is smiling with their mouth, but their pupils are tiny beads, do not believe the smile. Their mind are closed. 2. The Duchenne marker, the anatomy of a lie. We are trained from childhood to smile and be polite. But a polite smile uses different muscles than a happy smile. The social smile. This uses only the zygomatic major muscle, which pulls the corners of the mouth up. The rest of the face remains dead. This is a mask. The Duchenne smile, true joy. This engages the orbicularis oculi muscle, which encircles the eye. A true smile crinkles the skin at the corners of the eyes, crow's feet. The eyebrows might dip slightly. The test, if you want to know if someone is truly happy to see you, mentally cover their mouth. Look only at their eyes. Are the eyes smiling? If the eyes are flat and the mouth is grinning, you are speaking to a performer, not a friend. 3. The blink rate, the processor. A calm mind blinks at a resting rhythm, roughly 15 to 20 times a minute. The spike. When the brain is lying or fabricating a story, it requires massive cognitive energy. This overheating causes the blink rate to spike rapidly. If someone suddenly starts blinking fast while answering a question, they are likely stressed or deceptive. The freeze. Conversely, be wary of the liar's stare, someone who forces themselves not to blink to appear honest. This is unnatural control. Part 5. The third pillar, the body as the silent narrator. The body is the storehouse of karma. Every thought creates a chemical reaction that manifests in muscle tension. While people control their faces, they often forget their extremities. 1. The hands, the tools of intention. The open palm, Varada Mudra. In Buddhist iconography, the Buddha is often depicted with open palms. This is the universal biological signal of, "I have no weapon." When someone speaks with open palms, they are signaling vulnerability and honesty. The hidden hand. If someone tucks their hands in their pockets, sits on them, or hides them under the table, their brain is signaling withholding. They are keeping something back, information, emotion, or truth. The self-soothe. Watch for the hand touching the neck, the suprasternal notch, rubbing the earlobe, or stroking the arm. This is the adult version of a child sucking their thumb. It is an unconscious attempt to comfort oneself. If you see this, the person is feeling insecure or threatened. 2. The feet, the compass of truth. The feet are the furthest point from the brain and the hardest to fake. They point to where the mind wants to go. The exit sign. You are talking to a colleague. Their torso is facing you. They are nodding. But look down. Is one foot pointing toward the door? If so, the conversation is over. Their mind have already left the room. The anchor. If their feet are planted firmly and pointed directly at you, even if they are looking away, they are engaged. They are grounded in the interaction. 3. The torso, the shield. Our vital organs, heart, lungs, are in our torso. When we feel safe, we leave them exposed, ventral openness. When we feel unsafe, we block the barrier. Crossing arms is the most common block. It is a huge amount of protection. But also watch for object blocking, placing a coffee cup, a laptop, or a bag between you and them. They are building a fortress wall. Part 6. Applying the wisdom, modern scenarios. Now, let us bring this ancient wisdom down from the mountain and into your living room. How do we apply the blind seer's insight to our daily struggles? Scenario 1. The "I'm fine" partner. You return home after a long day. Your partner is in the kitchen. You ask, "Is everything okay?" They reply, "I'm fine." The surface observer, Kaito, hears the words, ignores the tone, and goes to watch TV. The distance between you grows. The mindful seer, Hiroshi, you stop. You anchor your mind. Observation. You notice their shoulders are hunched, carrying weight. You notice they did not turn to look at you, avoidance. You hear the dishes clanking louder than necessary, leaking aggression. The insight. Their mind is shouting, "I am overwhelmed, and I feel unseen." The action. You do not ask, "Why are you lying?" You address the energy. You walk over, offer a gentle touch, and say, "I hear that you're fine, but I can feel a lot of tension in the room. It feels like you've had a heavy day. I am here if you want to unload that weight." By validating the unspoken emotion, you dissolve the wall. Scenario 2. The business negotiation. You are presenting a new idea to a client or boss. They are nodding and saying, "This looks interesting." The mindful seer, observation. You notice their arms are crossed tightly across their chest, blocking. You notice they are leaning back in their chair, distancing. You see a micro-expression of a frown before the smile returns. The insight. They do not like it. They are being polite, but their mind have rejected the proposal. If you keep pushing, you will lose them. The action. You stop the pitch. You align with their truth. You say, "I'm sensing that although there are parts of this you like, there might be a specific hesitation or concern holding you back. I'd value hearing that concern more than your agreement." This creates trust. You have seen them. Part 7. The ethical warning, Karuna. A crucial warning must be given here. The ability to read minds, to see the truth behind the mask, is a form of power. In Buddhism, wisdom, prajna, must always be paired with compassion, Karuna. We do not learn these techniques to become human lie detectors. We do not use them to say, "Aha, I caught you." We do not use them to manipulate people for our gain. That is the path of the ego, and it leads to suffering. We use this insight to understand the suffering of others. When you see the king's arrogance, do not judge him as evil. See the terrified child inside him who fears poverty. When you see a friend lying, do not judge them as fake. See the person who is afraid of being rejected if they tell the truth. When you see anger, see the pain that fuels it. The blind brother did not expose the king to humiliate him. He exposed the truth to liberate himself. He freed the king from his paranoia and the queen from her silence. Your goal in reading minds should always be liberation, liberating your relationships from the prison of misunderstanding. Part 8. Conclusion, returning to sight. We are all walking through the great bamboo forest. We are all surrounded by clues, by signals, by the silent language of the universe. For too long, We have relied on our physical eyes, blinded by the flashy illusions of the surface. We have forgotten how to listen to the pregnant doe, the heavy heart, the silent tear. Tonight, or tomorrow, when you speak to someone, try it. Turn down the volume of your own thoughts. Look at them, really look at them. Watch the dance of their hands. Look for the light in their eyes. Listen to the music beneath their words. You will realize that you don't need to be a psychic to read minds. You just need to be human. You just need to be present. The truth is always there, waiting for the one who is quiet enough to hear it. As the Buddha said, whatever words we utter should be chosen with care, for people will hear them and be influenced by them for good or ill. But perhaps the most important words are the ones we hear in the silence. Thank you for walking this path of wisdom with me today. If this video helped you see the world a little differently, please leave a comment below sharing a time you felt a truth that wasn't spoken. And please, subscribe to Buddha Coha. Click the bell icon so you never miss a story that heals the soul. Until next time, may your eyes be clear, your heart be open, and your mind be at peace. Namo Buddhaya.